Hi, welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. I hope that y'all are doing well. We're going to try and get some of these out this morning because my day is like insane. Cancers. I hope that everyone is well. We've got the Judge and Alithia, the Animal and the Hunter, the Orphan and the Mentor. I just feel like there's this idea of somebody being a poor judge. I mean, the judge is just kind of like this idea of like, you cannot be a good judge part of the time and a bad judge the other part of the time, right? Like there has to be consistency across the board. And so if you have a point of contention with something, that point of contention needs to be across the board, right? It's kind of like, I just feel like I can hear somebody being like, well, like, just like somebody who wants to make an excuse for everything. And I just kind of feel like that, like it fosters such a like an inconsistent, manipulative, piss poor environment when people have an inconsistency with their judgment, you know? Like you don't get to hold one person accountable for something and not hold anybody else accountable for anything. You know what I mean? Because that's such bullshit. And I think that I think somebody's being called on it. You know what I mean? I just feel like this idea of being like, listen, I don't know what you're trying to accomplish here. I just think of like, I don't know, I just think of like a manager, right? And like management and upper management having a conversation about like the employees in like a sales environment, right? And the mid-level manager is kind of like, well, I just care about the team and I want everybody to have good team spirit, and we don't really, but you know, I'm sure we'll get the work done if everybody just gets along. And if you've ever worked in a company like that, you know good and goddamn well nobody gets along, nobody accomplishes anything, and it's just a shit show. But it's like, well, but we're just here to get along, and you're just like, oh my god. You know what I mean? But if you go to a place where they're just like, they're solid expectations, they're solid things where you're like, I know that what to expect when I go into this place, and I know that like this person's gonna have their shit done, that person's gonna have their shit done, because there's a level of accountability. But when everybody has their shit done, the accountability doesn't become about the individual getting their things done. It becomes more about a team that like, if I know you're busting ass and I'm busting ass, then we're happy to help each other when we need help. But if I know I'm busting ass and this person's being lazy and just complaining about everything and getting in the way, I am not going to respect that person, and I am not going to fuck with that person. And so when you have this, well, it's only fair when this happens, you know what I mean? Like you can only like, oh, I don't know. Or like if it's a group of friends and it's like, well, you don't understand what they went through. Okay, that's fine. You know what I mean? But if they're working on themselves, they're not worried about everybody else taking pity on them. They're just doing their thing. You know what I mean? And then if somebody notices they're struggling, they're like, oh my God, hey, you're busting ass over here. Let me help you out. It's just like the way things work. But I feel like there's just this idea of somebody being like passing judgment, and it just feeling like the reality of their judgment is so skewed that it just leaves people out in the cold. And part of that I think is because it's like you're not holding expectations, like consistent expectations. And I don't know if you're the person in this energy, if you're dealing with somebody in that energy and you're just like frustrated with it, because I mean, even, you know, Cancer, we're like the maternal sign, you know, the nurturer. But like if you've ever raised kids, you have to have expectations, and you can't say, well, you know, like this is that, and you know, so like da 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 da. It's like, no, like if we're gonna all have dinner, then we're gonna pick one meal, we're gonna fix it, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna eat. You know what I mean? And the compromise isn't in what we're doing. You know, like maybe one night you get to pick what we have for dinner, and another night you get to pick what we have for dinner, but dinner's always the same, right? There's consistency across the board. And I just kind of feel like there hasn't been consistency across the board, and like a real sense of just like frustration, because again, nurturing sign, it's like, listen, I know how to make, like I could streamline this, you know, and honestly, that's what I feel loyal to. And I just kind of feel like somebody, I feel like somebody like acknowledging that. And I don't know, because I don't know if you were like, you're dealing with somebody who, I don't know, like if you're watching like somebody do something and you're like, well, this is not your thing. I get it's not your thing, and I can help you be better at this. Do you know what I mean? Where you just feel like because it's not like, I get what you're trying to do, but whew, I don't know. How do you train somebody, like, when they're just like convinced that it's all about just being friends, you know what I mean? And it's like, you're gonna attract some shitty people if that's how you deal with life, because people will just take advantage of it, because they'll be like, well, I know I can get away with it with this person, like I know if I have this manager, it doesn't matter what I do. And then the customers suck, and then you lose business, and then you lose money, and then everybody's upset. And it's like, well, if you wouldn't be a dumbass in the first place, this wouldn't be an issue. You know what I mean? Just like not wanting to deal. Nine of Pentacles, Four of Swords, and Page of Cups. Again, I just feel like there's this idea of like, there's a lot of lack that's been going on with this like poor judgment, that just like, it needs to be like, just like lay that shit to rest, because I think, the truth of it is that you've got things to do, Cancer. You've got so many strengths, and you've got so much that you bring to the table. And I feel like there is an idea here of like, I don't know, like I feel like there's just this idea of like being able to heal a team. I just think, because the King of Wands is like charging into battle. The Hunter is like, I have a very specific goal, but this very specific goal ultimately is just to like create a healthy, healing environment. Because what was is not what can be. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, you have the stick-to-itiveness, you have the knowledge to move beyond that. But I just kind of feel like there's an idea of like just really needing to break away from something else, because nobody wants to work on a team like that. Ten of Swords. Oh, Cancers. The King of Pentacles, the Hierophant, and Death, and the Ten of Swords. Yeah, I really do feel like some judgment's been passed, and I feel like the reality of it is like, whoever was in charge of something just didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They don't have an idea of what it means to run a team and to manage people. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, and I feel like, Cancer, you're intuitive and you understand how to read people. I feel like there's almost this like again, I taught preschool for a while, and I just think of kids, and like, you can look at a group of kids and you can know like, this is their strength, this is their strength, this is what they like, this is what they like. And you can organize a classroom in a way that enables each of those children to like engage with their gifts individually, so that they're satisfied. You know what I mean? And I just kind of feel like there's this idea, and it's the same thing in it, like when you're dealing with grown-ups in the workplace. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like this, like, if you can like organize things accordingly. But I feel like there was just this idea of like utter chaos and pandemonium, and no consistency and no structure, and it's just kind of like, ew. That is not what I'm loyal to. That is not what I want. But I almost feel like maybe just like standing in your truth and just being honest, because I don't like, this doesn't feel competitive to me in any way. It's just kind of like, listen, I don't want what you have, but I would be, happy to help you along the way. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what you're doing, but it's not okay. the Hermit and the Nine of Cups. Again, you know, I just feel like pulling away. I just feel like being exhausted with somebody, being exhausted with like how is it exactly that this plays out in your mind? And like, what is it exactly like, how is it exactly that you feel like you're being a good judge right now? You know what I mean? Just kind of like this. And the need to pull away, because I feel like the reality of it is that you have the ability to do what needs to be done. And I just feel like this, like, okay, I can't exist in this type of environment, and I'm not trying to, you know, like, I just feel like I'm going to call in an environment that doesn't feel like that, you know, like that really unhealthy workplace where there's no consistency, there's no accountability, and it's just people being ridiculous. You know what I mean? And never getting anything accomplished because they're too busy like putting all of their energy into being fucking ridiculous, you know? Oh, feels aggressive. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just like, it's too many. I don't know. It feels aggressive, Cancers. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. And I don't know, you know, like if I think part of it feels aggressive because you've just been holding on to this idea that like, I just feel like there's a leader, you know what I mean? And you're like, listen, I thought that I could work on your team. I thought that this would be a good idea. I thought this would be a great fit. But like, in all honesty, like this shit will hold me back. I want to learn from people who know their shit. I want to work with people who are consistently successful. I want to work with people who, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like this, and all of these, like, I want, requires you to let go of things that are just like, but that's not what you really want. That's a singular experience that is so limiting and not sustainable. And I feel like you realize that you're letting it go, you're pulling away, and you're making a decision to be loyal to like your gifts and your talents and what it is that you have to offer, and stop dealing with people who it's like somebody passing judgment when they've never even done anything. You know what I mean? You're just kind of like you're I just feel like saying your kumbaya shit doesn't get anybody anywhere. It wreaks fucking havoc. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, you have a manager and they're just like, I just want everybody to get along. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, nobody's getting along because nobody's getting anything accomplished, because you're more concerned with like, is everybody friends? Are we all besties? And it's like, no, because that person's fucking with my money and that person's fucking with my time and that person's fucking with my energy. No, this is not kumbaya. You know what I mean? Like, move, get out of the way. Like, what kind of leader are you? Ew. You know what I mean? I just feel so irritated that it's like you just have to let it go. You just have to turn around. You just have to walk away, and you just have to work on building and creating, you know, like the kind of environment that you want with the kind of people who you want in your life, so that you can be successful, so that you can stand in your power and go in new directions and heal, you know, heal. I feel like the things in yourself that like those types of environments are damaging. They're damaging to everyone in that environment. There's nobody in that environment who makes it out undamaged. And I just feel like it's gotten to a point where you're just like, this is very clearly not, you know what I mean? And going in a new direction. I don't know, Cancers is kind of aggressive, but it is what it is. So here we are. I hope this resonates with y'all. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Please give me a like, share, and subscribe if it does resonate, and I'll see y'all again soon. Bye.